A new chapter. Ben and Jessa's goodbye. Ben Seewald sat quietly in the living room, the ticking of the clock the only sound filling the silence. Across from him sat Jessa Duggar, his wife of nearly a decade. Their eyes met, not with anger, but with a heavy kind of understanding. It hadn't been an easy decision. For years, they had built a life together, raised 4 beautiful children, and tried to live up to the expectations that came with their public image. But over time, things changed. What once was connection had faded into routine. Conversations grew shorter, misunderstandings longer. They had prayed, they had talked, they had tried, but the gap between them only widened. "We gave it everything," Jessa said softly, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee mug. "I know," Ben replied, his voice thick with emotion. "But sometimes love changes, and maybe the best way to honor what we had is to let each other go." The decision to divorce wasn't made out of bitterness, but of mutual respect. They agreed to co-parent with love, to keep the children's hearts at the center of everything. As they signed the papers, tears fell, not of regret, but of gratitude for the journey they shared. And so, Ben and Jessa turned the page, ready to write new chapters in their lives, separately, but always bound by family. Critics question where TF Ben and Jessa Duggar's 6th kid is possibly going to go in their house as Jessa Duggar prepares to welcome her 6th baby into the world with husband Ben Seewald. There's one big question on her critics' minds. Where are they going to put it? With 5 kids, it seems like the former counting-on couple are already living in tight quarters, and after Ben and Jessa have shared so much of their house on social media, their followers are beginning to wonder if it's even possible to add another into the space they're working with. Critics have a lot of opinions on Jessa's housing situation. In a post on Reddit, one fan posed a question about how Ben and Jessa are possibly going to make room for their newest addition, writing, "Where are they gonna put all these kids? Does Jessa not remember what it was like being overcrowded and constant noise? These people that breathe like rabbits and use it as a flex for sheer numbers are selfish." Commenters seem to be on the same page. One wrote, "I'm all for siblings of the same sex sharing rooms responsibly, but 6 kids split between 2 rooms is horrific." Another critic pointed out that the family should probably plan to move soon, writing, "Time to grow up, Ben. Get a real job, then get your family into a proper home." Jessa and Ben's house does seem to be on the smaller side. When Jessa and Ben first moved into their home in 2022, they shared a full house tour on their YouTube channel, along with updates about the renovations they made to the home along the way. It seems that they're living in a 4-bedroom house, the main bedroom where Ben and Jessa sleep, plus 3 bedrooms, though one of those has been converted into a schoolroom where Jessa can homeschool the kids. Their youngest child, George, doesn't seem to have a real bedroom to sleep in. Last month, Jessa revealed that her youngest son, 1-year-old George, sleeps in a pack-and-play that has been set up in the closet in her bedroom, and even that reveal earned Jessa a lot of flack with critics. He doesn't appear to have joined big brothers Spurgeon and Henry in their shared room just yet, but maybe that's on the agenda before baby arrives in the beginning. It's likely that the baby will sleep in Ben and Jessa's room anyway. Many newborns sleep in a bassinet in their parents' room for the first weeks, and sometimes months, of their lives. So if Ben and Jessa haven't figured out the logistics quite yet, they've got plenty of time to come up with a game plan. Eventually, it seems like George will be moving in with the big kids, and where the new baby ends up when they're old enough to move out of mom and dad's room will depend on whether they're a boy or a girl. News. Jill Duggar's new Hairdo causes backlash. Jill Duggar-Dillard and her husband Derek were overjoyed when they found out they were expecting their 4th Childa baby girl. Her name would be Esla Marie Dillard, and she was already loved by her parents and her 3 older brothers. They eagerly waited for her arrival, dreaming of the day she would fill their home with her cries, her coos. But sometimes, life doesn't follow the plan. At a routine checkup, They heard the words no parent ever wants to hear: there is no heartbeat. Their beautiful baby girl had died in the womb. She was stillborn just months before her expected birth. The couple shared their heartbreak publicly. It is with heavy hearts that we announce the stillbirth of our beautiful baby girl, Isla Marie Dillard. From the moment we found out we were pregnant, we couldn't wait to meet our baby. They held a memorial service for Isla. There was a tiny white coffin, soft toys, handwritten notes, and pale pink flowers. Her name, Isla, meaning devoted to God, and Marie, meaning wished for child, reflected how deeply wanted and cherished she was. Jill and Derek's 3 sons had looked forward to meeting their baby sister. They never got the chance. We will love you forever and hold you in our hearts until we hold you in heaven. Jill Duggar is one of the Duggars who has done the most whistleblowing out of the family. Duggar News followers understand it's not easy going after the people who raised her, but they have been appreciative of her for speaking her truth and calling out the problematic elements. Now, most of Jill's posts surround her home life, her loving husband Derek, and her beautiful kids. One of the major sources of Jill's income is her social media presence. Hence, she is constantly posting things and sharing highlights from her life for everyone's entertainment. However, her new post caused a massive uproar on the internet. So, what exactly did Jill do which was so offensive? Duggar News. Jill Duggar details concerns about high-risk pregnancy. Won't have more kids? Jill Duggar had a devastating year. It was during her 2nd trimester of her 4th pregnancy that she ended up having a stillbirth. It was a big deal for her and her husband, Derek Dillard. They had already named their baby girl Isla Marie. They also had a funeral for her in their backyard, and she shared many posts talking about her little one. In an Ask Anything session, a viewer wanted to know if she would have more kids or if she was content with her 3 boys. Well, Jill happily said that they tried to find a girl and talked about Isla Marie. She also said that her pregnancies are high risk, so she and her husband weren't trying at the moment. They were not sure if it would be worth it to try at that point because of Jill's health concerns. She did say that her deliveries and pregnancies from the past have been very difficult. Duggar News. Jill faces criticism for debuting new Hairdo. Jill Duggar is always sharing wholesome family updates on her Instagram handle. The Duggar News star has made her husband and kids her sole priority. That's precisely why most of her reels and pictures on the platform contain her husband and kids. But this time around, Jill tried to do something different. She shared a post about how she added a little summer happy to her hair. Well, the video had Jill twirling around with light-colored dreads and braids in her hair. While many people appreciated her in the comments section, others felt differently. On Reddit, someone shared the link to Jill's post and kept saying how offensive it was. Many angry viewers began to call it a classic example of cultural appropriation. The post has since then been deleted from Reddit because of the insensitive comments. Jill Duggar says husband Derek is taking a sabbatical from his career as a lawyer. Jill Duggar and her husband, Derek Dillard, have taken a different route in their lives than many of her married sisters. For much of their early marriage, Derek was still in law school, and now the couple is finally getting to enjoy the fruits of his labor. But is his career path changing after all of that hard work? Jill has finally confirmed that Derek is switching things up, at least for now. Rumors about Derek's career began last month. Just under a month ago, critics on Reddit discovered that Derek's LinkedIn profile indicates that he left his job as an assistant district attorney for the state of Oklahoma, a job he's held since 2022. In January, now his employment on his profile indicates that he's an attorney at Dillard Law. Is he starting his own law firm? So far, he hasn't shared any updates on his career himself, so critics have been trying to guess what's going on behind the scenes. Now, Jill is setting the record straight. Jinger Duggar brings new baby home to Arkansas to meet the whole Duggar family. Are Jinger Duggar and Jeremy Vuolo teasing a move back to Arkansas? According to a recent Instagram story, they might be considering it. The couple and their 3 kids are visiting Michelle and Jim Bob at the big house so their new son, Finn, can meet the rest of the Duggar family. While their Jinger and Jeremy had to fill up their car with gas and were stunned by how inexpensive it was compared to Southern California, where they live now. When Jeremy told Jinger to look at the price, she remarked, "What in the world? Should we move back?" Despite her musings, it seems unlikely Jinger and Jeremy will move back to Arkansas anytime soon. In August 2024, they purchased their home in Santa Clarita, California for just under $2 million. If Jinger's Instagram posts are any indication, they've been loving the house and their neighborhood. This is baby Finn's first time meeting most of the Duggars, although he has met a few members of the giant family. Michelle was present at his birth, and Jessa, Jonna, and John David recently visited California with their families. Most of the 19 Duggar siblings still live in Arkansas, near the big house in Tontitown. Jill, Jinger, and Jonna have ventured further away from home, so it's a big deal when they visit the family. Although Jinger has spoken out about the challenges of growing up as a Duggar primarily through her memoirs, becoming free indeed and people pleaser, she's still close with her mom and many of her siblings. Although Jinger loves her family, it appears she and Jeremy are content living in California. But who knows? Maybe they'll end up back in Arkansas someday. Before Jinger Duggar began wearing pants herself, she had a hard time seeing her friends make the switch. The Counting on Alum, 31, and her husband, Jeremy Vuolo, were joined by her sister Joyanna Duggar on the Wednesday, April 16 episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast to discuss the Duggar family's headline-making modesty practices. Jinger and her siblings were raised in an ultra-conservative Christian household and followed strict rules, one of which included women and girls wearing skirts and dressing modestly. Vuolo, 37, pointed out that while the family's beliefs seemed like another world to those on the outside, many people in the Duggars community followed similar guidelines. For you to do anything other than that was like a bombshell, he said. Jinger agreed that it was so normal for her and her sisters, and even their mom, Michelle Duggar, to dress modestly. You kind of start to not think twice about it until you are surrounded with other people who are conducting their lives differently. And then that's something where you start to think more about, "Oh, why do I do what I do?" she added. Every time a Duggar child broke their family rules. Jinger wearing pants and beyond. Joyanna, 27, noted that there were also people in their lives that branched out from the modest uniform earlier on. "To me, it was a big deal weedy that always wore skirts started wearing pants," she said. "Then I was like, oh well, they know better." That was my attitude behind it at the time. Her sister felt similarly. "I remember when a couple close friends started wearing pants and I was, like, so brokenhearted over it," Jinger recalled. "I remember crying over one friend just thinking, why are they doing that? Without even asking or hearing them out as to why." While Jinger has been wearing pants for some time, Joyanna revealed that she only took the leap 2 years ago. Her husband, Austin Forsyth, and their children played a role in the decision. "We wanted to know 100%, is this something we're okay with for our family?" she explained. Joyanna went on to assure fans that she has no problem with the way she and her siblings were raised. "Nothing held me back," she said. "If I wanted to ride a bike, if I wanted to do anything, I could. I don't have any regrets, like, oh man, that was horrible. I know everybody's different, but for me, wearing pants wasn't that big of a pressure, I guess." She added that Forsyth, whom she wed in 2017, wants her to wear whatever she's comfortable with. 19 kids and counting. Alum, Jinger Duggar recalls first time she told her parents she wears pants. Jinger, meanwhile, has been outspoken about her own fashion choices since releasing her 2021 memoir, The Hope We Hold. "Modesty was a huge topic in our house, and we believed that wearing skirts instead of pants was a central part of being modest. But I wanted to discover for myself what the Bible had to say. She wrote at the time, revealing that she came to believe modesty wasn't only about what you wear, but was also about the position of your heart.